was talking to my wife Michelle, and and we're live with another episode of BS Busters. We didn't have one last week, I don't think, or maybe I can't remember.
No,
Anyway,
no,
we're
we didn't have
back
one last week.
with another episode of BS Busters. We're going to be talking about past memories of E3 past that we enjoyed, and just because E3's gone now. It's gone the way of the dodo. It's gone extinct.
Mhm.
But there were some good E3 moments and some infamous ones. But we're gonna reminisce about E3 and
Yeah.
what we would like for an idealized replacement for the event, because that bullshit Jeff Keighley's come up with is not a replacement for E3. And we'll talk about some downright tone-deaf words that came from Eiji Eunuma about classic fans who like the classic Legend of Zelda games. And I'll give my spoiler review for Godzilla Minus One. And other things, we'll have unpopular opinion and hot takes. So without much ado, let's get into it. But before we do, I'd like my panelist, my co-host, to introduce himself. Go ahead, sir.
Glad to be here. It's Konoshi Abominito. Do Project Console on Tuesdays, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time.
All right. Um, this is Mr. Red Fox. Let's get into it. So I guess we can start with the first one, which is pretty simple. The first topic: E3 has been official. They pulled the plug on it. They said Grandpa isn't going to get any better. He's in a coma. Pull the plug. So
Yep.
there we go. Um, a lot of gamers were baying drums and tooting horns. Yeah, E3's gone. Fuck E3. I am not one of those gamers. I'm not one of
Yeah.
those people's like, yeah, this is great, because I realized the value of E3. Even what we didn't see as gamers, I realized the value of E3. It was a place where indie developers and smaller studios could go and meet up with publishers and show off their game and get funding to finish off their game and get it to market. It was a place where developers could go and rub shoulders with their compatriots in the field and talk about stuff. It was like GDC, but at a more base level, and all that is gone now. And that was actually a good thing. For gamers, they were like, well, what about us? It's like, yeah, I understand that. For me personally, I think E3 kind of went down when it became very exclusive, and like only you have to have a pass for the pass for the pass for the pass for the pass in order to go to E3. Um, I remember a guy who used to have a decent sized YouTube following on YouTube, who essentially was able to go to E3 and all he did was fucking play Smash Brothers instead of actually trying to do journalist type shit. I'm like, this is why no one can take you seriously, sir. Um, but despite all of that, E3 did have some cool shit, some interesting moments. So, without much ado, we're going to talk about some of those better moments of E3 or infamous moments, things that stuck out to us, about E3. I'll let my co-host go first, because he might get stuff that I want to get, so I gotta go into my back file. Go ahead, sir.
Um, on the topic of E3 and the and reminiscing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Okay. So E3, I started watching E3 well during the G4 days. About um, I knew about E3. I had Nintendo Power. I saw advertisements for E3, E3 and whatnot. Um, but yeah, I really got into it probably around I'll say like 2005, 2006. 2005, 2006. That's when 360 and the PS3 and the Wii were announced, and that was an interesting time, um, because we were on the edge of the uh, PS2, GameCube, Xbox era. You know, those were heading out, and people were looking at these new platforms. I remember when the Wii was codenamed the Revolution, and I remember that ugly ass boomerang controller of the PS3. That was the controller they were gonna use, and then they just went back to basics when
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
when people
Sony's been
looked at it.
functionally using the same controller since the revision of the original controller they had, the original one. Like when they first did the DualShock with the two analog control sticks, they've been using the same shit ever since. It has not changed.
Not really.
They not really.
Mm.
Like everyone's like, it's got Bluetooth, it's got the haptic. It's the same shit, functionally speaking.
I mean, obviously, you go from the PS2, PS3, PS4, PS2, PS3, PS1 through PS3. I don't really feel all that different,
No.
but they made slight changes to the PS4 and PS5
Yeah,
there,
but it's
so
still
it's
functionally the
different.
same damn controller. There's really no real fundamental difference between these controllers. Same thing with well, no, because the Duke was just too fucking big of a controller to fit in a normal person's hands. Um, and they made it a little bit smaller. And the only company that kind of has really evolved their control schemes over the years is Nintendo, to their
Yeah,
detriment or strength, depending on how you look at it.
yeah, depending on who you ask, depending
Yeah,
on how you look at it.
depending on what day it is and how you feel about it. Because I love the Wiimote. I love the GameCube controller. I think the Wii U gamepad was amazing. The Switch controller, I'm not too crazy about that shit. Um, like the Super Nintendo controller. I think the NES controller was just hard in your hands. Like those rough ass corners, you could cut someone with one of those controllers. You could slit a man's throat. Like someone breaks in your house, you don't have a weapon. Get the NES controller and slit the dude's throat. That'll kill his ass. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
why? You shouldn't have broken in my house, bitch. But you didn't have a weapon. The NES controller is a weapon. Yeah, yeah. It's yeah. But continue.
But in any case, yeah, about 2005, 2006, I remember people remember that $600 price point,
Oh yeah.
for
No,
PS3.
no, $5.99.
People,
Five hundred
yeah,
ninety nine dollars 99 cents. Like that was gonna fucking make the difference.
yeah, that was right on the cusp of a recession as well, because we were like,
No, we were in a
we were
recession
into, yeah,
because the
yeah,
housing
that
bubble
was
had
crazy.
burst. The .com thing was going on. Another mini .com bust was going on. A lot of consolidation. People's houses were losing value. Yeah, yeah. People were losing their jobs. Money was tight, and Sony had the balls, the cojones, to come out there and charge people $599 plus tax. So really, like 630, 650, 650,
I'm not,
630.
I'm not justifying the price, because I think the price is absolutely atrocious for the kind of market that they were
Yeah,
going for. But they were really smelling themselves. The PS2 was
yeah,
at the juggernaut
yeah,
gaming industry,
yeah.
you know. And so it's like, man, we can get away with any. That's the problem with a lot of these companies. Like, we can get away with anything, and
That's why
they're not.
whenever I hear people fangasming about their favorite company doing well, I'm like, especially nowadays that I'm older, I'm like, you do realize that whenever these companies get their ass on their shoulders, they get arrogant and they start to fuck the consumer every time.
Typically, yeah. Yep.
Sony's every time they do that shit. Uh, Nintendo every time the next gen they do that shit. They get arrogant and they start thinking they can do whatever the fuck they want. You know, you want to know why Pokemon hasn't really innovated in years? Because they don't have to. Their customer base accepts whatever bullshit they pump out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And
Sony was riding high off of the PS2, which was riding high off the PS1. They were riding so high that they came out. What pumped up the price of the PS3 wasn't just the cell architecture. That Sony was like, we're going to put a Blu-ray, we're going to put a Blu-ray player inside of this. Yeah, a Blu-ray player inside of this, and you're just going to take it.
in their defense, it was the cheapest Blu-ray player on the market.
Yeah, but
nobody.
Okay, let me put it this way. The PS2 worked because it was a DVD player as well. And once the price went down, you could get a PlayStation. You could get a PlayStation 2 for like $100, a new one.
Yeah, I felt like the PS2 dropped a lot faster
Yeah,
in price than the PS3.
like
And even the
$100, you could get a PS2 Slim, $100 with it also played DVDs. Also was backwards compatible with PS1 games. No problem.
Yeah.
The only thing you needed was was like an adapter for the memory cards for the PS1, or you could mod it so that the memory card also you could like a third party memory card that also did PS1 stuff. Whatever. The PS3 has never dropped like that. PS3s now are still kind of expensive. If you get a brand new one out the box, like you can get a used one for like $50-$60 now, maybe 80. Maybe a 150, 200 for one of the old models that were backwards compatible. Now, personally, for the PS3, PS4, PS5, I would rather them drop the fucking Blu-ray player and have the shit be backwards compatible with the physical shit from previous gens.
Yeah.
But they never did that. They're like, no, you gotta have Blu-ray. And they fought hard to keep Blu-ray into the PS3. Not realizing that literally 3-4 years into the PS3's life cycle, physical media took a major hit because streaming became the thing. And if you have, if you have access to, if you can pay 30, 40, if you can pay $80 a month and like subscribe to like 5 or 6 streaming services and have access to more content that you could ever fit in your house.
Yeah.
or I can spend $80 for a decent Blu-ray pack, a Blu-ray collection, with maybe like 8 or 9 movies. It's like, you do the math.
It's like DVDs. There's like a significant. It felt like the jump between going from VHS to DVDs was more significant than going from DVDs to Blu-ray.
Well, yeah.
It's like I remember that early Blu-ray kind of. Obviously, it looks way better now. They've gotten better with the format, but I remember, early Blu-ray content and how it didn't look all that great.
Because because HD DVD was 720 to 1080, and maybe they cleared up a few artifacts. And early DVD was like early Blu-ray was like 1080 solid.
Yeah.
And that was it. Mm-hmm. Like it was 1080 to 2K became a thing like maybe 8 years into it. Now you can get up to 4K. But even despite all of that, there's still like you get a Blu-ray, there's still shit like features that you used to be able to get on HD DVD. You don't get on Blu-ray.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like documentaries, behind the scenes, director commentaries, stuff like that. Like if you're a major fan of, let's say, an anime or a cartoon or whatever, a series, and it's on Blu-ray, all of that extra content that used to be on the HD DVD version of those collections doesn't exist on the Blu-ray version. Like they give you a DVD that has that information because they won't put it on a Blu-ray. Because the format is just too. It's basically the media takes up most of the content, not the side shit.
Yeah, I remember seeing I think it was Pirates of the Caribbean or Pirates of the Caribbean 2 that came out. They were demoing it at a Walmart, and I this was the early days. It's like I was looking at it, it's like, man, this looks fake as hell. Like, it just like because you could see all the flaws, because everything was in higher
Yeah,
resolution, so you could see this.
yeah,
You could see the strings a little more clearly.
yeah. The thing
So
is that with Blu-ray, the thing about Blu-ray is everything has to be in sync with you shooting in Blu-ray. Like the format has, if you're doing that level of definition, like IMAX. If you put a film that wasn't made for IMAX in an IMAX theater, it's gonna look like shit. But
yeah,
conversely, if you have a television that's supposed to use like that level of fidelity for a signal, and you're watching something that's made for that or been upscaled to that framework, it looks great. Like you can watch an old movie that's been upscaled for that signal, and it looks like live TV. You're like, oh shit! Like I was watching a movie when I got my new LG TV in my living room, and it was an old movie from the '80s. And I was like, oh shit, or like the early '90s, late '80s, and I'm like, oh shit, this looks like live TV. And no, it was just an old movie. I'm like, god damn. So, I
yeah,
mean, if something is built from the ground up for Blu-ray, it looks amazing. If you're just slapping Blu-ray, if you're slapping that resolution onto something, that format, and you're putting it there, and it's not really you're not upscaling it properly, it's gonna look like shit. Like early DVDs, where they were just taking the VHS, they were ripping the VHS and putting it on a DVD,
yeah,
and it was like, well, shit, this is useless.
yeah. It is, probably because you wanted to be of the first people to market, with the new format. So,
Yeah, I mean,
but
it takes a few years for a new format get um to get out of to kind of stretch its legs and get out of whatever hole it's in, you know.
yeah, yeah,
So, you know, no matter what format it comes out, it takes a little bit. Like when VHS and Betamax came out, it took about 5 years for those to become affordable and for the formats to start to hit their stride.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, but back to Sony. Yeah, Sony's $599.99. It's Sony being arrogant.
yeah. But I mean, yeah, and at the same time, if you wanted all the benefits of the 360, it probably would have cost around that much. But
I
you know,
mean,
um,
because they were arrogant
nobody
too.
really, yeah,
They were all arrogant. Like basically, that's what made the seventh gen so interesting was because you had Sony and you had Microsoft being arrogant for no goddamn reason because it's like, what are you arrogant for? You're literally not doing anything of value. Everything you do, you're just buying shit. Even now, everything they do is just buying shit. They don't do anything interesting.
yeah,
They haven't built anything. They just bought ABK.
yeah, exactly. Like, why not? We'll buy this. Um, but let's see. Then when Nintendo showed up, they had their the Revolution, and then Xbox. And the following years, everybody was pretty much the code names were gone. The Revolution became the Wii, and I think the 360 came out uh, that year. No, it came out the year before. Uh, it was set to come out that 2005,
Yeah,
and the
the
PS3 and
Xbox
the
came
Wii
out
came out
first
in 2006.
because that's how
Yeah,
you had the Red Ring of Death because they rushed that game out there,
yeah,
knowing
they should have.
knowing that system had major problems, and they put
Yeah,
it
they
out
should have.
anyway because they were like, we gotta
Yeah,
beat we gotta beat Sony to market.
and the problem actually. The thing is, the problem wasn't necessarily obviously it's major because your system died, but like it was a very preventable problem. Actually a fairly easy fix, but they needed to be the first ones on the market
Yeah,
because they needed to beat
yeah.
Sony.
Which is stupid because let me tell you something. If I know there's a tiger outside, I'm gonna let that other motherfucker jump out first. Cause while it's busy eating his ass, I can get the fuck out of there. It's like
I
being
mean,
first is not always the best.
the PS3 ended up still outselling the 360 when it was said and done. But
Yeah, but the cost wasn't worth the win. Like I
yeah,
think
it doesn't
it took about a
really.
decade for that system to become profitable.
Yeah,
That's
that's it.
unsustainable for Sony.
Yeah.
Now
Mhm.
Microsoft can do that shit.
Yeah, it's like I know there's people that was you know and we knew about this when the PS4 and Xbox One were pretty much pretty pretty much going out the door. It's like people were celebrating the fact that the PS3 overtook the 360, and it's just kind of sitting back and like, what cost though?
Well, both of
They
them.
had to strip that.
They
Yeah,
lost so much money. Microsoft could afford to take that hit because Microsoft has like monopolies in three other industries. But Sony lost so much fucking money trying to compete with Microsoft and Nintendo. It was like, this is ridiculous. This
yeah,
is this is unsustainable. This is why gaming is the way it is now.
yeah. I mean, Nintendo was right duct taping two GameCubes together and just and just having a more unique play to
Yeah,
play games.
they
Like,
made a Super
yeah, we're
GameCube. The
yeah,
the Wii is the super like okay, let me put it this way, okay? The Wii is the Super Nintendo to the game to the GameCube, okay? Just like the Super Nintendo was the Super Nintendo to the Nintendo. Okay? The
yeah,
Super Nintendo was a Nintendo but better. Okay?
yeah,
The Wii was a GameCube, but better.
yeah,
The Wii U was a GameCube and a Wii, but better.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
the Switch is a 3DS without the 3D and half the control scheme. That's what, okay?
Yeah,
It's a 2DS.
yeah,
With no second screen, which is terrible because there are games that were ported that need a two-screen experience to the Switch, and it's like, this just doesn't play right without the second screen. Like Splatoon. Splatoon without a second screen doesn't even feel like Splatoon. It's like, what am I playing? This is not Splatoon. Some people are going to get mad when they hear that. Oh, don't say that. I like Splatoon 2 and 3. I'm sure you do. I know that's a very uh, patronizing statement, but I'm an asshole, so. You heard me?
yeah, yeah,
I know some people are going to get mad about that. They're like, don't say that. Yes, I'm saying it. Okay?
yeah.
I know some people are going to get mad when they hear that, but once again, I'm an asshole. I don't care. I'm an asshole. Anyway, uh,
Yeah.
but yeah,
And
yeah,
it was like, the Nintendo came out, it was like so that was at least my introduction to E3 was G4.
really.
Um,
G4, like I was aware of E3 before G4, but I get where you're coming from. Where it was like, oh, okay, E3, yeah, E3, yeah,
I mean,
E3,
I saw like again, I had Nintendo Power, so I saw like advertisements and stuff
yeah,
for but I didn't I like the conferences and stuff like that and the crowd stuff.
yeah.
I didn't get to see. I experienced that through G4.
Yeah, G4 let me see it, but I read about it because I used to get EGM.
Yeah.
And that basically let me get my find out. Oh, E3, okay, cool, because they'd have a big E3 spread, and they'd go through each of the conferences and each of the console manufacturers, and all that shit. One of my favorite memories from E3 was people shitting on the Wii. That the year they announced it, and then the next year when the Wii was kicking everybody's ass, it was like, God damn, y'all.
Yeah.
Because I think Mario Galaxy came out wasn't Mario Galaxy like a launch game for the Wii, if I remember correctly.
No, that came out. That came out 07, I believe.
Or like the next year.
No,
No, Twilight Princess. The Twilight Princess was a launch game for that system. Twilight Princess came on the Wii. Personally, that's my favorite version of Twilight Princess. I know I like the GameCube version. You can have it. I prefer the Wii version of that game. And then the next year they came out with Mario Galaxy. And Mario Galaxy, between Wii Sports, Twilight Princess, and Mario Galaxy, the Wii was like, yeah, I may be underpowered, but that console kicked Sony and Microsoft's ass for like 5 years straight. It was embarrassing for them. Yeah, for those two companies, it was embarrassing. They're like, we got Master Chief, we got Halo, we got all this shit, and there's Nintendo with this little underpowered piece of shit.
2008 was like that's when everybody was really shitting on Nintendo during the E3. I remember that E3 really well.
It's like, yeah, fuck these guys. Like, okay, sure, yeah, all right, yeah, okay, cool.
They were still selling systems, so they were still moving.
They were outselling Sony and Microsoft combined. They had the Wii and the DS.
Yeah.
Iwata just sitting there looking at them like, okay, sure. It prints money, bitch.
and then Microsoft and Sony had to get in on the motion control stuff, and everybody was pretty much kind of.
And they broke their leg. They physically said, "Let me wedge my leg into this rock and then throw myself forward and hear the shin snap and the bone stick out of my leg." Between Sony and Microsoft, the PlayStation Move and the Kinect. It's like shit. So, okay, Microsoft, your console costs $299, if I remember correctly. The Xbox, the base Xbox, the 20 gig model, if I remember correctly, or was it the 10 gig? Like their most basic one.
It didn't have remember, this was back in the day. But the balls to the wall model was 20 gigs.
Okay, so that was 400. So the basic one was like what, 10? 5?
No, it didn't have a hard drive.
Okay, yeah, you had to buy the hard. Yeah, you had to buy the hard drive that connected to it. Oh, and you could get you could get a DVD player with it too, because it didn't come with it. You get a DVD player that attached to it because Sony backed Blu-ray and Microsoft backed HD DVD, but Blu-ray won the format.
See. And the thing is that the hard drive came at a premium as well.
Yeah,
it was 20 gigs back then was a premium.
Yeah,
at least
Yeah,
it's pretty ridiculous.
Because it was, but Microsoft's like, yeah, so you already spent let's say $300 for the base model that you already bought 2 or 3 of them because of the Red Ring of Death. You stupid Xbox fans. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna keep on picking on you for buying something that broke and then buying another one. Sending it in to get repaired until Microsoft said, okay, we've repaired 2 of these. You got to buy the next one. And you spent another $300 on a new one. But yeah.
That's probably why their sales went up. It's because people bought.
Well, because they counted, they counted the repairs as sales. That's because they inflated their numbers.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why when I hear Xbox fanboys say, yeah, Microsoft won the 7th gen, I'm like, no, they didn't. They cooked their numbers. Sony cooked their numbers.
That is crazy.
That's why whenever Sony and Microsoft report their sales numbers, I don't believe it. You want to know why? Because they cook their numbers. They misrepresent how much they sold, how much they didn't sell. I strongly suspect Okay, I strongly suspect that years later we found out the truth that the 360 sold like under 80 million lifetime
Oof.
sales, which isn't.
Oof.
I
I
mean,
mean, that's not terrible,
that's not
but
terrible, but the way Xbox fans were going, like Sony was swinging the biggest set of balls of all time. Um, but yeah, Sony, like Microsoft was counting the repairs as sales, um, so that they could pump their sales numbers. Because functionally, to them, for what they were spending to repair those machines, they were basically, it was a brand new console. So they were counting those as sales. On paper, the money wasn't there, the sales numbers were there. You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
And they would write off other shit. Remember, this is when Steve Ballmer was the head. He just wrote them a blank check. Just boom, here's some money. Boom, here's some money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, big money Ballmer. Big money Ballmer. Steve batshit crazy Ballmer. But yeah, man. Yeah. So Sony, not only did you spend $300 for the base console, they wanted you to spend another $199 for a fucking Kinect.
Yeah.
That had no games that anyone wanted attached to it. But wait, Sony, not to be left out in the cold, like, hey guys, we got the Move. These aren't Wiimotes. They're our Move controllers. No, those are Wiimotes, man. They're Wiimotes with fucking ping pong balls, glowing the dark ping pong balls attached to them. They threw themselves down the hill. Like, it was like, have you ever seen Liar Liar?
No, I've never seen it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, Liar Liar is this film where Jim Carrey plays a lawyer who he lies constantly. And his son makes a wish that I wish my father would not lie for X amount of time. So Jim Carrey can't lie, but he's a lawyer. So he kind of, and lying is a part of our social construct because there's shit that we just either censor ourselves or we, obfuscate a little bit. And so he's basically like he sleeps with this lady, and she's like, "Oh, that was amazing." He's like, "I've had better." He's like, she kicks him out of her head, like shit like that. Like he tries to win a court case and he can't lie, so he's got to actually do lawyering and find a legal loophole. So he tries to get out of it by kicking his own ass in the bathroom. And this guy walks in, he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, "What does it look like?" "I'm kicking my ass." and, and the judge says, "Can you continue?" He's like, "Shit." He's like, "Yes," because he can't lie. But my point is the reason I say this is to say this: Sony and Microsoft kicked their own ass.
Yeah.
Look, Nintendo had nothing to do with it. They fucked their own shit up. It's like, what are you doing? Like, I could imagine that for 4 or 5 E3s, Nintendo people would go. It's like if these companies had personifications that were the embodiment of themselves. It's like Nintendo's walking into the bathroom and they see Sony and Microsoft beating their own ass. It's like, what are you doing? What does it look like I'm doing? I'm kicking my ass. It's like, Jesus. Okay, I'll go use the bathroom down there. Yeah, you get to it. Because Nintendo wasn't worried about them. They were like, we're going to do our own thing. As always, Nintendo's going to do their own thing. Whether it's a good thing or bad thing, they're going to do their own fucking thing. They don't care.
And then there's the, let's see, there's also the yellow light of death, which doesn't really get talked about. I remember when I was in college, somebody brought up the fact that the early PS3s had a number of problems.
Yeah.
When they came out.
Because they rushed them out too. Both of those consoles were rushed. Both of those consoles were missing features. Both of those consoles had major issues. And if you mention that to people, they're like, "Oh, don't say that." Oh. That was my console of choice. I remember because people have emotional attachments to these consoles versus thinking critically. You know, so they're remembering playing with their friends and all that shit. They don't remember having to fucking do all that shit where they like had to like put the console on its side and put it on a fan and wrap a cold towel around it.
Yeah.
Because that
Yeah,
shit's
these
not
are things.
normal.
But I think the 360 is obviously a bit more pervasive. Not to mention it was, the quote unquote most popular of the HT twins just because of Xbox Live and stuff.
I think that was mostly marketing.
That too.
Yeah, I do not believe. I do not believe that the I do not believe that the that the Xbox was more popular because it sold less. There were
Yeah.
less Xbox 360s in people's houses.
Yeah.
But Microsoft had a lot of money for marketing. You know, all those fucking exclusives and commercials. If they didn't sell, if they didn't sell less, they didn't make you didn't know it. Because I remember Microsoft had a commercial in a movie theater for the Xbox for Halo 3. I was like, what type of bullshit is this? A commercial for a
Yeah.
video game.
It's. I mean, the Xbox is pretty pretty pervasive. It's everywhere. It was more. It felt like there was more of Xbox. When it came to again talking about the HD twins. There's
Yeah.
more of that than there was PlayStation.
Yeah, because they spent money on advertisements. Because if you look
Yeah.
at the numbers, there weren't more Xboxes out there than PlayStations.
Yeah, which makes sense just because obviously PlayStation has that history,
Yeah,
which Xbox really didn't. This was their second platform.
yeah, yeah. Like I'm not look, man. It seemed that way because they had the money to make it seem that way. But I mean, marketing can get you a lot of stuff. you know,
Yeah, yeah. But in any case, another E3 uh, moment I remember um, was the announcement of Twilight Princess. And everybody
yeah,
crying tears of joy.
yeah. Because they
Um,
finally had adult Link and not kid Link, not 14-year-old Link.
yeah, yeah, and you know, and then the obviously the abysmal 2008 uh, Nintendo conference, and
Oh,
then
you
we
mean
had
Wii
the
Music?
with Wii Music and
Wii
stuff like
Music.
that.
Wii Music. Wii Music.
And then 2009, I don't really remember. 2010, Nintendo had a blowout year. Um,
Yeah, because they had Mario
with
Galaxy 2, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was like Mario Galaxy 2, and they had some big announcements at their E3 with the Zelda game.
Which they
Um,
give no love to Mario Galaxy 2, even though that game is, on a technical level, it's even better than the first Mario Galaxy,
yeah,
in my opinion. Because the first Mario Galaxy, you have all that story bullshit, and like they try to. It feels like it's doing an homage to Mario 64, and I'm like, this is nice, but I just want to get into the game. I don't want to hear all this bullshit.
yeah,
Give me some good level design shit.
yeah. Uh, yeah. When they started, let's see, and then 2015 was like pretty much like the that was it. That was the breaking point for me because like I saw people get all up in arms about the Final Fantasy VII remake, crying as if crying tears of joy. It's just like this game isn't coming out for another 3 years, and
Oh,
then
isn't
it
that the
shuts
same
down
year where
for
they had
3 years.
the announcement for the announcement? They were like, they had what's his name, the guy who created Shenmue, come out there and beg people for money.
I believe so. Yeah, it was the same year. Same year.
It's like, hey,
Like this is
now it's coming to PlayStation 5. Hey, can we get some money to make this game? I'm like, God damn. That's some bullshit right there.
that's gotta be embarrassing.
That's some sad shit.
Yeah, you're just you got this multi-billion-dollar company coming out, and they're just promoting your Kickstarter. They're not even signaling that the fact they're gonna give any money to this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like wow.
You know what that's like? That's like going to a Coca-Cola retreat. Coca-Cola is one of the three monopolies, soft drink monopolies in the world. And they say, "We're having an assembly." And this guy comes out saying, "Could you please give money to the poor people in this country in Uganda?" It's like, "Sure." Yeah, can we get some money? So the company's going to match these funds, right? No. It's like, we want you to give us money. It's like, what type of bullshit is this?
Yeah,
That's some
yeah.
sad shit right there, man. That's some sad shit. Just sad.
Yeah, I was like, man, after all Square Enix has done this past decade, it's all forgotten. It's all forgotten because of a CGI trailer of Final Fantasy VII. It's like, okay, whatever.
I
You
mean,
know.
I think it was forgotten for a time because it keeps on getting worse. Because they keep on like Square Enix can't stop not fucking up.
Yeah.
They can't help themselves. It's like they're like a crackhead, a crack addict. They're like, I want to give it up, but it just be calling me. It be calling me, man. It be calling me all the time.
And Final Fantasy VII came out to various various mixed. At least that's what I've found. You got people that really like it, really like where they took the story, and then you got people that's like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm kind of
But
like on. I'm kind of on the fence. I mean, I'm not the biggest. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Final Fantasy VII. Um,
yeah,
I think it's overrated.
yeah,
Just in general, but I do think that them changing the story them making the changes they made in the remake fundamentally change how that like what the point of the game is.
yeah.
But the guy who created Final Fantasy basically gave them the blessing. So if he's
Yeah.
cool with it, I'm not cool with it. But I'll bite my tongue and won't say shit. That's basically all I can do.
I don't remember E3 from 20. I know I know people were fairly disappointed with Nintendo when they showed off the Wii U. I think it was 2012.
Yeah, because
So
people like
it's been
complaining and
what?
bitching about it. Oh, the Wii U. I don't know what it is. It's like goddamn well what the Wii U was. You just wanted a reason to bitch and complain about shit.
Then what else? What else? I don't really remember anything between. Oh yeah, 2016 was that was the year Nintendo. That was the year Nintendo only brought one game to the show because they were because they didn't have anything. They didn't really have anything else to show for the Wii U. That was pretty much out the door, and
Yeah, they
they did
fucked
more.
up. They fucked up. But I mean, that's the thing about Nintendo is that Nintendo at that time, like everyone's like, "Oh, the Wii U was terrible." It's like the Wii U was not a terrible console. The problem with the Wii U was that Nintendo fucked up and relied on third parties to bridge that gap in the first year that they were before they could get their games out. If the Wii U had launched with 3D World, Splatoon, Tropical Freeze, sorry, Tropical Freeze. If it had launched with those three games and Mario Kart 8, the Wii U would probably just be getting not getting supported probably 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Because that was a solid system. And in some ways, I keep on saying this. People get mad when I say this. In some ways, the Wii U was a better system than the Switch is.
Yeah, so and yeah, definitely in various ways it was. Especially when it comes to the thing that people cry about, features.
Yeah,
There are way more features than the Switch on launch.
yeah. On launch, it had a web browser, like a really good web browser, like an astonishingly good web browser. Something you still don't have on the Switch. Um,
Yeah.
Despite its form factor, which would make the Switch into a fucking amazing web browser. Like you're playing a game. Oh man, I'm stuck on this level. Let me go to GameFAQs and look up how to beat this, or YouTube and see how to beat this boss. Nah, can't do that shit on the Switch.
No.
But what do I know? I'm just some guy. But yeah, man. Yeah.
So and then what was it? Yeah, I don't. Um, that just seemed like people were just starting to slowly pull away from E3. Nintendo was doing their digital events, and I think around 2018, 2019, Sony was like, well, we're not doing E3.
Yeah.
I think it was 2018.
I mean, all it took was one person to walk away, and if Nintendo was like, because the thing is, Nintendo has their directs, which their directs are literally they can control their messaging, and they don't have to deal with people holding. The thing about these companies doing their own thing is that they don't have to be held to task when they fuck up or do
Yeah.
something stupid. Now, that's a good thing for the company, but not a good thing for consumers because it's good that companies get called out for their bullshit.
Yeah.
Nintendo, when they came up with Wii Music, it's good that people called them out for Wii Music because Wii Music was shit. Okay?
Yeah.
I recently saw the worst ever from Rerez. Yeah. I didn't remember how bad Wii Music was until I saw that. I was like, oh shit, Wii Music was so bad. It was so fucking bad.
Yeah, the
Everyone
game.
should be ashamed of that.
I know the demo what they showed was bad, but even the actual game was
The
pretty
actual
bad.
game is bad, yes. It's bad.
Oof.
Wii Music is terrible.
Yeah. And then there was yeah, that's pretty much it. E3 died at 2020. That's when it was on light, essentially light.
Yeah,
And I know people use.
COVID killed it off.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It was kind of on its way out the first because I think people were tired of spending all this money. Like you had Nintendo that had their directs, and they can, like you said, they can control the message, and then you had Sony that's like, I don't want to spend this kind of money anymore. Um, you know, and then you have Microsoft sticking it out. Some of these third party publishers, there it's just like I don't know why you're even here. Your announcement should just be a press release. Like
Yeah, basically.
what are you doing here, Capcom? You
You
spent all this
literally
money
could
to
have
create a
just done like a
video.
video, like a direct style video, just showing off what you want to show and then leave. Like, why are you here?
Yeah, there was and then there was yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I know people like to use the pandemic as like, oh, that's it. It can't, but I just think E3. I think the company that sets up E3 just failed to adapt.
Exactly. They failed to adapt. They became too hung up on gatekeeping and not trying to get, because if they had gotten normal people invested into E3, E3 would still be alive today, because people would be like, the normal consumers be like, yeah, I want to see this shit. I want to be there. But like, it became like, oh, you can't go in unless you get like 1 million forms signed, and you have to be, if you're a YouTuber, you have to have a cajillion people. It's like, this is this came out of the this used to be the consumer, it came out of CES, which is the Consumer Electronics Show. It was the answer to the Consumer Electronics Show, which is, it's for consumers, people who are going to buy your shit. So why are you basically going out of your way to make this hard for consumers?
And the thing is, it's like people use the pandemic as an excuse, but there was a lot of companies, a lot of big shows that lost a great deal of money because they couldn't have them.
Yeah.
But they're still around.
PAX,
Alcon's still
CDC,
around. PAX is still around.
GDC.
GDC's still around.
You know, Penny Arcade. Well, that is PAX. Comic-Con. They lost money.
Yeah.
A lot of music. A lot of music concerts lost money. You know, but they're still going. Like I said, and the thing is, I don't want anyone saying, "Oh, it's too expensive," because literally the ESA, which is the Electronic Software Association, is the one that runs it. Every single electronic company that it's a part of the ESA puts money in the pot for that shit to get done. So it's not like, oh, they don't have the money. Even now, the ESA is still around. All those companies who are part of the Electronic Software Association, which is really just like it's a fucking cartel for all these big electronics corporations to basically go after people who want to, you know, like, you want to know why the right to repair is so hard to get through? Because of the ESA. Okay? They're basically a lobbying arm. They look out for the concerns of the big companies, and to hell with the rest of us. But but yeah, man, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
but it's like, I mean, to a degree, you just have to be like, well, you guys kind of did it to yourselves, like.
Yeah, they did it to themselves. I mean, they did it to themselves. There's no one to blame but themselves. They can't be like, well, so and so did this or this did this. It's like, you did it to yourself. But despite all of that, this is where we segue to the other part of this. There needs to be something like that.
Yeah.
You know, there needs to be some type of software you know, there needs to be shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There needs to be there needs to be something like E3 where indies can go and show off their game and rub shoulders with their people in the same industry and talk business and make connections.
Yeah.
That needs to exist. There needs to be a place where gamers can get a boatload of information about what's coming out next year or the year after next. You know, for the next 2-3 years, they need to get that information.
Yeah.
And there needs to be people. There needs to be a media there who can see someone fuck up and call them out on it.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you can't, you know, because there's some shit that some people say where I'm like, yeah, but that's kind of bullshit though.
Yeah.
If are you have you said everything you want to say about E3, sir?
Yeah.
All right, let's segue on over to Eiji Eunuma said some stupid shit. There's no other way I can put it. It's literally stupid shit. So I'm gonna read what he said, and I may have played my hand, but I will explain why I think this is stupid shit. Some people may disagree with me. If they do, I'm glad to have a discussion, a debate on it. But so The Legend of Zelda, this was put out in December 11th, so that was 2 days ago. The Legend of Zelda series producer Eiji Eunuma has been on an interview spree, presumably because he was in the USA for the Game Awards in 2023. In a new interview with IGN, Eunuma was asked about those fans who have expressed a desire for a more traditional Zelda experience than the open world adventures we have with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Eunuma says that he understands that people enjoy nostalgia, but questions whether it is simply just that. It's interesting to hear you say that because of one of the discussions that I've seen among Zelda fans is some of them saying, gosh, I miss the more traditional linear Zelda of the past. And I'm wondering, how do you feel about that given the direction of the series toward a free-form, open-ended kind of design? This was the question. Well, I do think we as people have a tendency to want the thing that we don't currently have, and there's a bit of the grass is greener mentality. But I also think that the freedom players have in more recent games in this series, there still is a set path. It just happens to be the path that they chose. So I think that is one thing I kind of like to remind myself about the current games that we're making. But it's also interesting when I hear people say those things because I'm wondering, why do you want to go back to a type of game where you're more limited or more restricted in the types of things or the ways you can play? But I do understand that desire we have for nostalgia, and so I can also understand it from that aspect. Okay, that's it. That's the thing.
Yeah, I can see why people are bothered by that.
Let me dive into this. Very simple. Some of the best Legend of Zelda games that were ever created were created in spite of the limitations, not because there were no limitations.
Yeah.
Link's Awakening. The definitive version of that game is the DX version from back in the day, not that bullshit they released on the Switch. Why? Because of the hardware limitations of the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Wind Waker.
That game.
What?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, Wind Waker is an amazing game, but there's hardware limitations. But the hardware limitations made that game amazing. Hell, one of the best games Eiji Eunuma ever made is Majora's Mask. He was under a time limitation. He had to get that game out in a year.
Yeah.
So, my point is that limitations make better games. Because they force the developers to be creative. I mean, you notice how Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, when you get down to the granulars of the actual gameplay, it's kind of underwhelming. Yeah, you can create your own moments, but the developer crafted gameplay is kind of like bland.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why people would think that just simply for the fact that, they don't necessarily like to, you say you don't particularly like games where developers throw you in a world. It's like, hey, create your own fun.
Yeah, I mean, like, let me put it this way. There's some games where that really makes sense. Like, if I'm playing Minecraft, where the whole point of the game is to build your own shit. I used to be one of those people that like I played Skyrim and they're like, hey, we got Hearthfire where you can make your own houses. I'm like, this is stupid. But I'm playing Starfield and I'm making outposts and I'm enjoying it. So I guess it depends on how it's presented. But like I played Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I beat Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm playing it and I'm like, the gameplay loop and how you explore the world is scattered. There is no connecting experience between any fucking thing you do. It's a series of things you do where there's no string connecting it. It feels like I'm just in a world just meandering around. Which is fine for certain types of games. Like if I'm playing like a farming sim or some shit, yeah, that's what you do. Just kind of meander around, you grow some shit, build your house. But I'm playing a Legend of Zelda game. I'm expecting to be taken on a grand journey. Some really good music, some awesome bosses, some greatly well-designed dungeons. And I get this. And if people like that, that's great. But to shit on people who like the other, the other end of that spectrum, this is basically like saying, hey, you like a linear book that has a start, middle, and end. But we're switching over to choose your own adventure. Why the fuck do you want to go back to a linear book? Because I prefer it. But it's limited though. Why wouldn't you want to use a choose your own adventure? Because I've played choose your own adventures. I used to cheat all the time. Go through and find. It's like, well, what if I did this? Okay, yeah, I'm on a better path now. That kind of takes the fun out of it for me, but whatever. And then also a less linear game removes the impetus on the developer to craft better experiences. It's the reason why Breath of the Wild's final boss fight and dungeons are so fucking underbaked.
Yeah, that's why people are disappointed by
Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah,
because they did the same thing.
And the story as well.
Yeah,
people are disappointed by that.
Yeah,
because the open, things being as open as they are. I've seen relatively open games that have done well crafting a story, like Baldur's Gate,
Phoenix Rising,
yeah.
GTA.
It's not like it's an impossible thing to do.
No, but Legend of Zelda, Nintendo has a story weakness with their games.
Yeah.
Like I would say the games with the best story is maybe Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
And that's all like environmental. Like Samus isn't the impetus for anything. She's an observer for a lot of that game. For a lot of those games. So it's like shit's happening around her. And you have to draw inferences.
Nintendo's greatest strength is
gameplay.
Game and world design.
Yeah, it's gameplay. I don't want to say world design because
not world design. I said
level design.
Yeah.
Because you play a well-made 2D or 3D Mario game, and it's like when Nintendo's hitting on all cylinders, it's like shit. This is amazing. But because we're used to them hitting on all cylinders, when they don't, like Mario Odyssey, I don't think is as good as Galaxy 1 or 2, or even 3D World.
Yeah, I think it's weaker than those two games.
And what hurts that game?
I think it's even slightly weaker than like both 3D Land and 3D World.
Yeah, the reason I think Odyssey falls is the same reason that I think Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, the design philosophy behind those games, is that it's open, do whatever you want. It's like, yeah, but if there's no set challenge and there's no right way to perfectly get through an area, and any approach is viable, it kind of takes the challenge out of the game. And the level design reflects that.
Yeah.
Like there's no real challenge in Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
There's no like you play through 3D World and you get to the Star World, there's like the final level of Star World is like, fuck. I have to hit this perfectly or I'm fucked. Yeah. and here's the thing: if you want to get all the stamps and the stickers and the crowns, you have to beat it with every single character, who all play differently. So you basically gotta I really gotta play perfectly. There's none of that in Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey's like, okay, I mean, yeah, I could do this the hard way, or I could like jump onto that enemy, take their shit, and steal their powers and go easy.
Yeah.
It's like, Here's what I'll say. The design philosophy that Eiji Eunuma is basically going with, it feels like a cop-out for the developers. It's like, oh, we don't have to actually handcraft dungeons anymore. You just create your own. We'll just do some half-ass shit, and You guys
I
will
don't
figure
even
it out.
think. I don't even think it's that. I think it's just. I think he's just responding to the hype pertaining to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom because those are the most well-selling
Yeah,
Zelda games
I
that they've
mean,
had in a while.
I get it. I understand. Okay, he's been working on Legend of Zelda since Ocarina of Time. That is, see, the N64 game in '96. No.
Yeah, that game came out. I think that game came out in '98.
Okay. Yeah, but they probably let's say '95. Okay, '95, 2005. That's 10 years. 2015. That's 20 years. 25 years, 28. He's been working on let's say functionally he's been working on linear Legend of Zelda games for 20 years. He's tired of it. I understand.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I understand that he is personally tired of it. Here's the problem
Yeah.
though. Yes, people have played the shit out of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They've sold a lot. But just because something sells a lot doesn't make it good. Crack sells a lot. Is it good?
That's true.
High sales is not a barometer of something being objectively good.
Yeah.
Call of Duty sells gangbusters. GTA 5 sells gangbusters. I wouldn't say GTA 5 is a very particularly good game.
Yeah.
So that's not a barometer of excellence. Okay? In gaming, a barometer of excellence for me in gaming is, do you go back and play a game and do you get just as much enjoyment, or if not more, from it coming back to it years later? I don't think I'm going to go back and play Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom after beating them 2-3 times ever again.
Yeah.
And if I do, I'm not going to enjoy them as much. I can go get back and play Link to the Past. I can go back and play Twilight Princess. I can go back and play Wind Waker. I can go back and play Link's Awakening. Oracle of Ages of Seasons. I can play those games. Enjoy them. Have fun. It's real fucking hard for me to go back and play Twilight, fucking Breath of the Wild. Because every time I play it, I see the inherent flaws with that game. I see the haphazard, like, events. I see the shoddy ass responding of enemies. The nonsensical level response. Like, it doesn't make any sense in Breath of the Wild that you kill Master Yiga. You murder the shit out of him. His students are still coming after you. Wouldn't it make more sense for if you take out the strongest ninja in the Yiga clan, for the other sub peons, dudes who are weaker than him, be like, yeah, I'm not gonna fuck with this guy anymore, because if he beat the strongest of us, what the fuck am I gonna do? Wouldn't that make more sense? And then have new enemies spawning? Nah. We'll just, because we can't be bothered to come up with a better scripting engine, because you're gonna make your own fun. Do your own thing. It's like, no. We can't be bothered to come up with unique bosses for these 4 dungeons. We're just gonna have the same boss with slightly different weapons and patterns. We're not going to be bothered to actually have different enemies in different areas. We're just going to keep on using the same enemy over and over again with color variations. And in order to make them tougher, as the difficulty goes up, we're going to make your weapons have lower durability and the enemies have higher health. That's it. Matter of fact, we're gonna have at the highest level, once you clear all 140 or is it 120 shrines and get all the orbs, guess what? We're gonna have black Lionels that have more health than the final boss. Have fun. No. That's fucking terrible game design. And I know some people are going to be like, Mr. Red Fox, you don't make video games. You can't complain about that. You don't make video games. Um, which segues nicely. Do you have anything you want to say, sir?
No.
All right. That segues nicely into the next topic because there's another game designer of a popular action adventure series who is pissed that people are complaining about the newest game that the company's come out with. Emil Paglarino, I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name, but I don't know how to pronounce it properly because I am a dick. His name is Emil Pagliarulo. Sorry, Pagliarulo. Emil Pagliarulo, who's the Starfield lead and Bethesda Studio design director. He says, "Funny how disconnected some players are from the realities of game development. They speak with complete authority. I mean, I guess I can guess what it takes to make a Hostess Twinkie, but I don't work in the factory, so what the hell do I really know? Not a lot."
What is that supposed to be?
I'm about to get into it because this is also part of my issue with what Eiji Eunuma said. He says Pagliarulo acknowledges that consumers have a right to complain about the things they spend money on, though he doesn't publicly complain about games because of my respect for my fellow devs, and because it would be uncool and unprofessional for me to do so, but sometimes I want to. Oh boy. The director points to his time writing game reviews for a 1995 founded website, Adrenaline Vault, back when he would say whatever I wanted about a game, with some negative remarks amounting to him being a sarcastic asshat. But throughout that time, I actually had no inkling what game development was actually like, how hard the designers, programmers, artists, producers, and everyone else worked. The struggle to bring a vision to life with...
Oh, are we doing this again?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, you don't understand how hard it is to make a game. Really?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna...
We
I'm
make
not...
that excuse.
Yeah, I'm not gonna keep on
An
going.
excuse with everything else.
Yeah, I'm not gonna keep on going with it, but here's all I'm gonna say, okay? Here's my issue, and it's shared between both of them, okay? I don't have to know how to make a cake to see someone make a cake, come out with it, and be like, oh, they fucked this up. Taste it and be like, they fucked this up. I don't have to be an expert on that. You don't have to know how to fly a plane to see someone land an airplane and the wing crash into another airplane and be like, yeah, whoever was piloting that, they fucked that up. That's stupid. It's like, you're not a doctor. I know that if a doctor does surgery and they leave their instruments in the person's body, they fucked up. Okay? All right? I don't have to be a lawyer to know if someone does something stupid or basically goes against basic founding stuff like, oh, I hired a lawyer, but they didn't get the filings in on time. So something that would have made the case easier makes it much harder. They fucked up. I don't have to be a lawyer to know that. Okay.
It's like some other people, that involving a certain somebody in the YouTube community. Certain people are complaining the fact that, well, the people that criticize this particular individual, they're not financial experts, so they shouldn't be sticking their nose in this.
It's like,
you don't necessarily need to be a financial expert to figure out that somebody's doing some shady nonsense.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know the entire thing, but I do know that the more I'm gonna listen, okay? I'm not gonna mention the person's name, but I'll just say this, okay? Because there's been no legal filings yet, but it looks shady as hell.
Yeah,
it looks. I won't be surprised if some legal things, if someone isn't getting investigated or indicted by a grand jury. But something's gonna happen, okay? But enough about that. All I'm saying is this, okay? All I'm gonna say is this, okay? It's disingenuous and scummy to say that from a developer standpoint, well, the people who consume our product, because they don't make the product, can't complain about fundamental problems with the product because they don't know what goes into making it. Like, you might not know how to build a house, but if someone comes in your house and they say, "Hey, we're gonna fix your toilet," right? Because like something they're gonna put in a new toilet, right? And you're like, "Okay, cool." And you go to flush the toilet, and like water starts coming out from under the thing. Like, oh, they fucked up. You don't have to be a plumber to know when something's doing something it's not supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have to be a game developer to play a game and see fundamental issues with how it's designed and say, something about that's not right. I might not have the technical know-how to know exactly what's wrong, but I can tell that something is not right. I can tell that there are design issues with both of these games. Well, all three of these games. There were issues with Breath of the Wild. Okay?
Yeah.
There is no excuse. You beat Breath of the Wild, didn't you?
Yeah.
Remember that sorry ass final boss fight with Ganon, where you're on the horse and his weak spot glows. And you have to do the jump off the horse and hit it with the arrow of light.
Yeah.
That was sorry. That was a sorry ass final boss fight. I'm sorry. There was no excuse for a game having like, okay, look, we should have known that the final boss fight was going to be some bullshit because the boss fights for the Zelda Megazords were shit too.
Yeah.
There was nothing to lead us to think, oh, this is going to be literally. And here's how I know that everyone's like, oh man, well, there was, they were working on the engine. It was difficult. Here's how I know Breath of the Wild could have had better boss fights. Because did you fight the sand dragons in the Gerudo Desert? Mogura?
Yeah.
That shit was epic as fuck, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We couldn't get that for final boss fights for the real game, though. Nah. No. See, that's how I see when people defend those two games. That's when I'm like, no, they just didn't want to do it. They were like, nah, this is good enough for. They'll accept it. They accepted it last time. They're not going to hold us to any higher standards. They're going to take this shit anyway. We don't have to put any effort into this.
Yeah.
Why? I'm going to tell you a minor tweak they could have done to Breath of the Wild would have made it so much better. Instead of you fighting like Ganon's ghost, Ganon's possessed ghost in the Zelda Megazords, wouldn't it have been cool if Link would have had to like basically like not Last Guardian. What was the name of that game? Shit. On the PlayStation, where you like had to like climb the giant fucking monsters and climb up and hit their weak spots and shit.
Oh, Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, Shadow of the Colossus style. On Link on his horse, climb the fucking things, and then fight them and hit their weak spots. That would have been cool. That would have been epic as fuck. In order to subdue them, so that the new Guardians could take them over and cleanse them. That would have been cool. That would have been interesting. Fuck that shit. Nah. A little shitty ass mini dungeon and fighting Ganon with some sorry ass weapons. And what you get is an upgrade to your runes. Yeah. Most of which are kind of shit. Stasis rune, bomb rune, levitation rune, and I think the magnet rune. I think those are it. Because there's 4 of them. Yeah. And an upgrade to your fucking to your guardian power. So like you can get a shield, the ability to do a super jump, something that brings you back to life. And I think that I forgot what the other one was. It's like when I hear people say Breath of the Wild, it's my favorite Legend of Zelda game. I'm like, you didn't really play a lot of Legend of Zelda games, did you? I'm not saying it's terrible, but it's not perfect. There are flaws with that game. Same thing with Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom has some good ideas, but there's some flaws with that game, and it could be so much better. Tears of the Kingdom could have been so much better, but it wasn't. Which leads to Starfield, which Emil was the lead writer on. I wish they had gotten someone other than Emil than being the lead writer of. Because, hey, guess what the name of your main character is in Skyrim?
What?
Dragonborn.
Oh,
You know, the Dragonborn. You've played Skyrim. The Dragonborn. Guess what the name of the main character is in Starfield?
the Traveler.
No. See, you're putting thought into it. Think about it. The main writer was named Emil. Everything's about the Dragonborn. So what would a Starfield be about?
Starborn.
Oh, Jesus! Oh, you're in the mind of Emil, man. You're in the mind. You need to go work for Bethesda.
Holy crap!
Yes.
This guy's
He's a sorry. Yeah. And guess what? The only reason he has this fucking job is because he's friends with Todd Howard. Because he's not a good writer. He is not a fucking good writer at all. His writing thing is that he. No, go ahead. Sorry.
He probably screams at his editors because he thinks he's just such hot shit.
Well, his big thing is he's the guy who was like, well, like the Dragonborn, it's like, what is Skyrim about? It's about dragons, but it's not really about dragons. It's a redemption story. It's like Jesus with the redemption story. I'm like, that makes no sense because, like biblically, Jesus sacrifices himself in order to redeem mankind. The Dragonborn isn't sacrificing himself in order to redeem anybody. He's killing shit.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. But okay. Yeah, the man is a hack. He's fucking terrible. His claim to fame, and I'm not gonna say he's a his best written the best thing that he actually designed was he did the main quest line in Oblivion for the Assassin's Guild, for the Dark Brotherhood, which is actually pretty good. Not gonna lie, it's a legit good thing. But that's where he should have that's because he was a guy under a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't like, oh, I can just do whatever the fuck I want. It's like, no. You should not be in charge of shit. Someone who actually knows how to write should be in charge of shit. But, you know.
Yeah.
And so people were wondering, well, why is Bethesda just like recently been writing back against people and talking shit? Oh, well, we need to clap back at people who are complaining about Starfield instead of working on making the game better.
Yeah.
This is what?
Yeah. Seems like the more Starfield is out, the more disappointing it gets for people.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. I've been having a lot of fun with the game. I've been enjoying it. Of course, I am playing it with 160 mods. I I am not playing the vanilla game. If you're playing vanilla Skyrim, any complaints that you have, I 100% agree with you that it probably has those issues because vanilla Starfield is not very good. It's not. There's clearly this game needed another 6 months to a year in the oven. Yeah. Starfield should have came out in maybe I don't know. see. It came out in September. So September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. They should have pushed it back 9 months and put it out in April or May.
Yeah.
And I stand by that statement. I know some people are going to get mad. They're going to be like, "Oh, don't say that." That's my opinion. I'm turning to Adam Orth. Hashtag deal with it. They literally should have put that game out in they should have put that game out then. So, cuz there's shit in like this game needed more testing, but they clearly wanted to get it out and make it, whatever. So, it is what it is, but that's my opinion. You got anything to add?
No, I just think people are getting tired of Bethesda's bullshit.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah, but it ticks talks. Like, here's the thing, right? People are pissed about Starfield right now. Come next year, they drop the DLC and it's fucking amazing. People will be like, "Oh no, okay, all right, okay, they earned it back." Because remember how everyone hated on what was it? What was that fucking game? People were hating on
Sky?
no, Fallout 76. There's people who legitimately like that game now.
Yeah.
And 76 was in worse shape than Starfield. Like, way worse shape than Starfield.
Yeah.
So if they can come back from 76, Starfield ain't shit. That's an easy come up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But agree, disagree, don't care. Move on to the next topic.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. Whatever, it's just like Bethesda's not gonna stop being Bethesda.
No, not unless they bomb. But Microsoft bought them, so good luck with that.
Yeah.
Good luck with that shit. I mean, so here we go. The next topic, the last topic, if you will, is oh yes, my Godzilla Minus One spoiler review. So I saw Godzilla Minus One last week. It was fucking amazing. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was a fucking amazing movie. Enjoyable.
$15 million movie.
What?
It looks pretty good.
It's
a $15 million movie.
Under
good.
that. Under 15 million.
Under 15 million.
Yeah, they talked to the director. He's like, I wish it was 15 million. Because that's like 2.2 billion yen. That's a lot of money. That's like one of the most expensive Japanese movies ever made. It's under that. Yeah, it's under that. It's like a ridiculously low amount of money. But the director, he look, listen. This movie does something that we haven't seen, and even I thought I didn't want. He made a Godzilla movie where you care about the human characters. There's legit stakes. You're like, oh my god! Like I watched Godzilla. Like I was talking with someone, and they were like, oh, I wanted a human character. Like when Godzilla 2016 came out, the legendary Godzilla, and people were like, well, I wanted a character I could relate with that I liked. It's like, what do you want, man? It's a Godzilla movie. Shit, no one watches a Godzilla movie for the people. They want to see monsters fuck shit up. It's like that's like someone saying someone watching porn. It's like no, I don't watch it for the sex. I want to see the storyline and the acting. It's like no.
I've heard that about people who like hentai. It's like Really? You watched this for the
It's
okay.
no. I really want to know if she's ever going to get her pepperoni pizza. I have to know if she's going to get the pepperoni pizza with sausage. It's, I mean, like, and really,
Yes,
I
she's
mean,
gonna get sausage, all right.
who
That's for sure.
whoever, I mean, if that's the wrong house, some poor person's out there with their missing, waiting for a pizza that's never going to get to their house, or if it does, it's going to be cold. And will this delivery driver wash his hands after he's finished with his business with the widow? Who knows? It's like, really? That's why you're watching this? It's for real? Okay, all right. Okay, I'll take your word for it, Steve. you know, so so um so Godzilla Minus One is set shortly after the events, the end of World War II, with Japan's surrender, and shit gets real. Okay,
Yeah.
shit gets real. It opens up with this pilot. Basically, he's a kamikaze pilot who said, "Fuck that shit. I'm not gonna die for a war that we ain't gonna win." So he claims mechanical trouble and lands his plane on this like tropical island strip, airstrip, airfield, where like these mechanics are like, yeah, we went over this plane and we didn't find anything wrong. He's like, look, I told you there's something wrong with it. Like they're like, he's like, he walks away, and the head mechanic's like, look, man, look, listen, I'm not gonna blame you, man. We ain't gonna win this war. I don't blame no one. Nobody want to die for this shit. and so and so so basically, Godzilla attacks Little Island, and he's just destroying some of the buildings, but then the people on the island, the mechanics, are hiding in this bunker. But one of the mechanics starts shooting at Godzilla, so then he starts attacking them because they attacked him. He attacks the people. Like property, yeah, man, he's a giant dinosaur creature. Some shit gonna get fucked up. But he doesn't start attacking people until they attack him. Okay?
Yeah.
Um, that's a key important word I noticed in this film. Okay, remember that. So he starts stomping dudes and grabbing them with his mouth and throwing their asses. I mean, if this is a PG-13 film, but if it was R, they'd be squished. Like later on after the fight, like the mechanic has grabbed the bodies that miraculously have not been stomped into mush, because if a giant dinosaur stomped someone, they would be stomped into mush, and the bodies are all laid out and shit. I'm like, you found something to put down? I mean, goddamn. Godzilla, for such a giant creature, he really did not destroy these bodies. And yet again, during this fight, when Godzilla is attempting to destroy, is attacking these people, before the mechanic started shooting at Godzilla, like the mechanics went to looks to the pilot and says, "Look, man, your plane's out there. It's got 22s on it. Go over there and get inside your plane and shoot the monster." And like the guy chickens out again. He's like, "Oh shit," he can't do it. Not that it would have done anything, I don't think. But the next day, the guy passes the fuck out because he's just terrified. Like he goes comatose and passes out. When he wakes up, like the mechanic whose leg was all fucked up finds out that, he dragged all these bodies and shit, and he's like, "You're the reason these people died because you didn't shoot the monster." He's like, "Man, what the fuck?" He's like, "What the fuck could I do, man? It was a giant monster. Shit, like what the fuck, man?" He winds up going. He's on a boat, and the mechanic gives him like this envelope filled with pictures of the people and like postcards from their family, of the mechanics that wanted to live and all that shit. So you have a pilot who's suicidal and suffering with survivor's guilt because he survived and so many other people didn't. He comes home. He finds that the neighborhood where his parents lived has been bombed the fuck out. His parents are dead. His neighbor is dead. She lost her kids, and she's like, "How are you back? You were one of the kamikaze. You should have done something." Like, and the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, well, actually, statistically speaking, kamikaze pilots are ineffective. Um, and the only thing you're doing is weakening your military because your more experienced pilots who would have been able to come back and get better and go back and fly and get better at flying are dying before they can get any experience. So kamikaze pilots are not a good thing. It's one of the most useless things you can do in a war.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's like, why would you? Because it's he. You know, human soldiers are kind of soldiers that have potential or even experience are pretty hard to replace. I don't know why you
Yeah.
think that's a good idea.
Well, I mean, even just like, and I'm going to get even more brass tacks. A pilot of an airplane is worth more than like a platoon of soldiers because a pilot can hit more strategic targets than a platoon of soldiers can. A bomber, a bomber, like, let me put it this way, okay? The way modern wars are fought, a platoon of soldiers, a battalion of soldiers, yeah, that's awesome. They're boots on the ground. But like 4 or 5 fighter jets escorting a bomber can end that war way faster than an army of dudes on the ground. Because they can bomb the shit out of it and wipe it out.
And it's just like you also have to have practically superhuman vision to fly a plane. So
Yeah,
that
well,
makes it doubly hard to.
I mean, this is World War II. They didn't have all that shit. Like now, they got like technology and like all types of cool shit. Back then, like this dude's a pilot. It's like, why would you train someone to be a pilot just to make them crash it? That's just stupid. I mean, the whole time they're like, you should. Why didn't you do your thing? I'm like, so you want them to die in a war that they were gonna lose anyway? They like, I mean, like literally, Japan when they attacked America and Pearl Harbor and all that shit, they started a war with a nation that they were never going to win. The war was never going to win.
Yeah.
Because Japan was a small island nation facing America that had factories all over the country that could start producing war machines to get us back into the war. We lost like 75, 85% of our fleet with the attack on Pearl Harbor, but the 15% that was left was soon augmented by shit that was coming off of the factories that we were getting back on board. And Japan is populated by yellow people. And America had never had a problem bombing the shit out of countries that didn't have white people in them. Now, if you white people, yeah, we might not bomb you, but yellow, brown, black, shit. Anyway, yeah, man, Pearl Harbor. But yeah, so he comes home. He discovers his neighbor's like, "You didn't do your job. That's why my children died. Your children died. You're directing your anger at the wrong people. You need to get angry at your government that started a war that they couldn't win." That's like literally like I mean once again Godzilla Minus One so essentially he's like living in squalor and indigent conditions because like basically they're fucked and they're starting to rebuild back up and he winds up meeting up with a girl who stole some food to feed a baby that it's not her baby. Like the mother died and she got the baby. Like she's raising an orphan, so it's a found family. He's trying to get his life back together, but shit just keeps on getting worse. And then Godzilla comes back and attacks, like starts destroying boats and shit. And ultimately, the film just like it ends with the government being useless, normal citizens and former soldiers getting together and sacrificing themselves to take on Godzilla. They win. They actually defeat Godzilla. But this Godzilla, there's one thing, he can regenerate. So normal Godzilla just tanks everything. Like you hit him with missiles and guns and shit. He's just like, yeah, that's funny. That didn't do shit. This Godzilla's like, oh, that hurt, but I healed from it, and you just pissed me off, so I'm gonna fuck you up, son. Once again, I did I wrote a paper when I took film critique. The first film I ever critiqued in the class was Godzilla in 1955, or sorry, 54. And I said that Godzilla is an allegory for America attacking Japan in some regards during the two nuclear bombs that were dropped on that country on Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Yeah.
I strongly suggest that this film is also that, because Godzilla doesn't start attacking people until they attack him. Like, literally, he destroys buildings, but he doesn't start, like, doing really fucked up shit until they attack him. He doesn't use his atomic breath until a destroyer attacks him. He doesn't use his atomic breath on citizens until tanks are attacking him. So basically, if they had just left him the fuck alone, some property would have been destroyed, but they would have been, hey, okay, yeah, we could rebuild that shit, but those people are dead. They're dead. They ain't coming back. So my point is that Godzilla Minus One, and even at the end of the film, they blow up his head, they blow up his body, and he's regenerating at the end of the film. And I'm like, if y'all make a sequel and he comes back, all y'all dead. He gonna be like, y'all fucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, Godzilla Minus One. It's some people are saying it's like on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it has a 97%. It's the highest rated Godzilla film ever made. I'm not gonna go that high. I don't think it's better than the original Godzilla, because this Godzilla is feral. He's mean. Like he's terrifying. And you also kind of feel sorry for him because you can see how he's in pain. But I think the original Godzilla's design is a little bit better, because the original Godzilla doesn't look as terrifying. He looks sad. Like, the original Godzilla looks like a dog who's been in a really bad accident and he's barking and trying to bite everything. But not because he's mean, he's in pain. He's feral, you know? He's like, the original Godzilla's covered with keloid scars because he was nuked, and he's in pain. He's just angry and in pain, you know? This Godzilla is angry, in pain, and he's angry, he's in pain, and somebody's got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Like, this Godzilla is like, fuck your couch, nigga. Rick James, you know, nice city you got. Fuck your city. Hey, this is a nice building you got here. Fuck this building. You know, that's basically. It's like there's a scene in this movie where Godzilla he doesn't attack. They say he's going to Tokyo, but then they steer him away from Tokyo. But he instead winds up attacking Ginza in this film. And there's a scene where these people, these news reporters, kind of like a throwback to the 55 Godzilla release with the shit they shot with Raymond Burr, where he's like narrating Godzilla attacking Tokyo. Well, they have this group of people, this reporter, he's narrating Godzilla attacking this building. And they're right across, like, they're in the building, across from the building he's attacking. I'm like, bitch, get down, get out of there. And he tail swipes the building by accident. He's like, oops. And they slide to their death and die. I'm like, man, you could have survived and you had gotten the fuck out of there. It's like, why would you do that? He's like, they're narrating Godzilla destroying the city like a wrestling match. Yeah, he's destroying the building. Oh my god, the humanity. I'm like, god damn, dude. And they even have a scene where he grabs a train with his mouth like 54 Godzilla does. Gojira, sorry. And but this Godzilla has nuclear breath, is a little bit more badass than 54's Godzilla. He basically cocks his spines like a gun. It's pretty badass, actually. It's like when you see him do his breath attack, it's like, oh shit. Like, you have that moment as a Godzilla fan where you're like, y'all fucked. You know, it's like, I don't know, whoever that's aimed at, y'all fucked. Y'all say your prayers. You better send your soul to God, because your ass is Godzilla's. It's because you done fucked yourself. Hey, it's terrible being fucked. But yeah, Godzilla Minus One is amazing. Maybe one of the best the best movies of this year. And this has been a good year for movies. But good. Yeah, it's really good. I'm gonna go watch it again probably next week if it's still in theaters. If not, I'll just um I'll if it isn't, I'll stream it because it's that good. Sorry, it's that good of a film that you literally you watch it and you're like, this is amazing. You know, this is in fact cinema. You know, um, and like I said, it's a legitimately like even if you don't like monster movies, um, it's a legitimately good film within and of itself. And I wasn't anticipating it. Like it was a pleasant surprise to watch a good Godzilla film. Cause, you know. Anyway, have any questions before we move on to the final topic, sir? About the movie?
Nah,
Thoughts?
nah, I'm good.
Don't plan on watching it? Oh, that's right. You're not a big movie
Uh,
guy.
well, I might check it out at some point.
All right. Well, with that being said, I guess it's time to move on to unpopular opinion and hot take. Do you have a hot take or unpopular opinion that you would like to share? You're like, I gotta let this out. I've been holding it too long. I'm not gonna hold back anymore. People need to know about this shit.
Um, I'll tell you, I guess basically talked about. Oh, what? Uh, oh yeah, the PlayStation 5 Pro apparently is has been leaked, and one of the funniest things I heard is like, because someone is trying to justify it. It's like, well, the reason this exists is for enthusiasts. And I'm just kind of like, that doesn't make any sense because enthusiasts
Got a PC.
are they got PCs. They bought their high end graphics cards.
Yeah. They
With their
got
high end
their 790.
7900s
Yeah.
or 4080s, 4090s if they want really like
4080s,
4K,
4090s. Yeah.
4K stuff like that. It's like I don't know why this thing exists. I don't know why this thing is even a thing.
Yeah, but we know that there are PlayStation fans who will buy that shit.
Yeah.
They're gonna buy that shit and then they're gonna be disappointed because the games aren't gonna. I guarantee you there'll be maybe one or two games that actually take advantage of the power of the PlayStation Pro, and the rest of it, if it's just gonna be some, it's gonna be some shit that should have been in the base model anyway. Like, oh, it can now do 1080p 60 frames per second solid. Versus
Yeah.
performance mode where it's like, oh, you get 2K, but it does like 17, 20 frames per second. Like, well, shit. If it's limping along this slowly, then what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
This is what we got to deal with, folks. This is the future of gaming. Tastes good, don't it?
Yeah.
I'm being
Right. Right.
facetious, by the way. Clearly, I'm not. Clearly, I am not like, yeah, this is great, guys. As you can probably guess, I'm not. I'm not ecstatic with joy, but yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all because I mean, I'm so fucking tired of refreshes and better versions of just fucking. I have a better idea. Okay, I know this is gonna make some gamers angry. Make like okay, if you have to raise the prices of your consoles, so be it. I would rather Nintendo charge $500 for the next console and have enough power for it not to struggle to run first-party games like the Switch does.
Yeah.
I'd rather pay more and have a better quality product than have some shit that, oh, we cheaped out as much as we could and shit runs like ass. I know some people are going to get mad when they hear that. They're going to be like, how could you say that? Easily. It's very easy for me to say that. But you agree, disagree, don't care?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Okay. Any other unpopular opinions you want to share? Hot take?
That's it.
All right. Here's my unpopular opinion. Here we go. This goes to all three console manufacturers. I kind of already said it before, but I'm going to reiterate it. I would rather pay more and have a higher quality console than pay less and have some shit that struggles to run first party games. I'm tired of first party games. Remember when first party games were like a big marquee that showed how awesome the console was? Like you would look at third parties and be like, "Why don't y'all step up your game?"
Yeah.
We can't do that anymore with a lot of these games.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You know, there are first party games that run like hot buttered ass on these consoles. It's not cool. No, sir. Not cool at all. I don't like it. Not one bit. You know, like I said, I remember playing Breath of the Wild, crashed on me 2-3 times. I remember playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2, crashed on me twice. Um, Mario Odyssey had certain times where the frame rate would dip real fucking low. Game looked amazing, but there'd be certain parts where I'm like, kind of run a little sluggish. Um, you know, and I mean, these are first party games. These aren't third party games. These are first party games. These are games where you're like, oh, this person's gonna have their shit together. No, they've been fucking up. So with that being said, I would love for things to get better. Will they? Probably not, because you know we live in a day and age where no one wants to hold anyone accountable, and everything has to be, you know, friendly to people who don't play games, and you know, etc., etc. But that's my own personal opinion. I know some people will disagree. So, okay. Anything else you want to add, sir?
No, I'm good.
All right. That's the end of the cast. Um, anything you want to pimp out, sir?
Project Console, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on Tuesdays. Hope to see you there.
That's right. This is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. We will be having a podcast next week. No, actually, we will not. I will be covering a bartender shift next week, so we will not be having a podcast next week. I'm going to try and record some footage of me playing a game that I bought recently. It is a Paper Mario esque game called Bread Boy. And I think you guys will like it. So look forward to that. I'll upload that and maybe talk about some stuff while I'm playing over the gameplay footage. So with that being said, rate, comment, share, subscribe. You can reach the channel in the link in the description. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, please. We're trying to grow the channel again. Peace, good night, and play your games. Good God. Trying to find the